Welcome back. We're here to cover your path, Divine Feminine. And if you have not grabbed a drink, get one. And yes, we are in the shadow energy of the eclipses next month. So do be prepared. Now, we are going to cover what is going on with this energy for you this week. And I do believe there is a bit of a change that you guys are coming through. And I do feel it's important. The first thing I heard was the courage to be disliked and the courage to be you. Now, for those of you that are new, my name is Yildiz. I will be your host, and we are going to get straight into the read. Now, your card already on the crowning level, especially in the context of the overall energy, there are some things that we are moving through energetically as divine feminines, in the mix of our heart chakra, in the mix of our belief systems of how we show up in the world, how we feel, how we react, and again, there is shadow work associated to it. Now, the benefit we do have at the moment, which some of us may beg to differ on this factor, is that we do currently have Chiron retrograde. And I do get this notion of men are from Mars, women are from Venus, very much the yin-yang frequency at a collective level. And this energy within you, I was seeing a few things. One, again, an onion layer. Another is for some of you, you could be thinking, gee, is this ever going to end? And I think it's always, for some of you, especially if you have gone through this emotional process quite regularly, you could be thinking to yourself, is this purging going to end? And for some of you, I do feel it already has. It's going to be about really preoccupying your energy and being quite focused and breaking a pattern associated to it, because I do actually feel for a large majority of you, you actually have done a great deal of work on yourself, and there is the transformation that is pending. And, it is both the connection that we have with ourselves as well as with others around us, and trusting that process. There is something in the notion of what you're wanting to do moving forward and whether you're going to put energy into it. And for some of you, it could be that you're in this questioning mind, and trust me, I have been here, especially from this kind of frequency I'm getting as a psychic download. If you are in the mindset of how would I react if counterpart turned up, I would answer that when that happens, okay? Because I used to literally go down the rabbit hole with that situation. What if I have to turn left? What if I have to turn right? What if things don't go according to plan? And it was so much energy in one circumstance that it can drive a nun crazy. So really, I feel if that is something that's coming up for you, A, it's very normal. B, you could be to the point where I do feel you're going to be shifting out of that frequency. But there are some concerns about how things are going to go, where it's going to go. I do feel you're going to have to be very cognitively aware of the little bird that sits on the shoulder and talks, and it can be messing with you, especially with the monkey, and being gentle with yourself. Now, I do feel there is something coming through, and it is going to be of a positive notion. And this is some movement and magic, okay? I do feel, something that is intended for you is always going to come towards you. You could be wondering, am I still on that same vibration of manifesting? And those of you that have just tuned out, you're very focused in the 3D world of what you're doing. You could be thinking, gosh, what have I got myself into? Especially we can say, hey, did I sign up for this? I do feel the seed you planted is directly coming back to you. Some of you could be working on personal circumstances in your own lives at the moment. It could be career, family, etc. However, whatever this hope, dream, aspiration is, as well as connected to the twin flame path, I do feel there can be some feelings almost emotionally that worlds are turning upside down. But I still feel in the heart space you're actually tuning into, is this where I want to go? Is this what's going to be happening moving forward? Because we do have in the heart space, it isn't a reversal. Dream a beautiful dream. Now, again, it is 19. 1 and 9 adding up to 10, almost that you're there. the heart chakra space, especially from the crowning, where are we? Being a 7 relationship sector, this is a lot to do with contracts, partnerships, love, friendships, innermost interconnections, wealth, beauty. You know, you're going through these records. And, you know, some of you could even be questioning. We have the twins here, we have the cosmic connection. And again, it's in reverse. It's like, you know, was this really a connection? Is this my connection? Why is this so troubling? Are we in harmony and balance? And we do go in ebbs and flows. Even those that move into union do go in ebbs and flows. They tend to have the foundation of all the work that you guys are doing is the work that you directly take into the journey, which is very resourceful. Now, again, I do get this questioning. And for some of you, I do feel this context that there's a possibility that somebody is coming out of left field. This can be some unfinished business associated to a different person. You're going to need to trust your instincts with this. Although I do feel for many of you, you are really on the fence to do with this. And they're actually asking you to come back into yourself, to actually trust yourself when it comes to your choices, trust yourself when it comes to your path and what and who you're going to choose. And also trust yourself that you're worthy. And why would this person not want to have you? So these spirals of manifestation, again, trust, spirituality, great time to meditate at this point in time in the context of things. Now, it can be that I literally, as soon as I went to say this, I literally felt somebody pushing their heels into the mud. Now we have this card at a foundation level. Sometimes, yes, I will tell you, there are things we can do. Sometimes we know there are things we can do that we can directly change the circumstance. Sometimes it can be a basic action. Sometimes it can be a telephone call. Sometimes it's our attitude or our spiritual process we need to move through. There's always something on our side as well as the other individuals. But the first message I got from Spirit was no sooner I was giving the message, they gave me the analogy through my body, and it was the heels almost being like the person was walking forward and then being pulled forward, and they were digging their heels into the dirt and saying, no, I'm not going to. So again, tune into that, tune into the energy of the reasons why that can be happening. And, you know, for some of you, it could be a conscious decision and a wound you are working through so that you are not, how could I explain it? It's almost like testing it where you're going to allow this person to have complete power and autonomy. And sometimes this can be difficult. So some of you could be doing this in a very healthy fashion, but the angst and the tension is really having to control yourself. And I think if that is the context of what's been shown, I don't feel that's bad. I feel sometimes it's a challenge to have the confidence inside of yourself to allow another person to do spiritually what they need to do. And it can actually speed up the journey at times. This is a new chapter. This is a new way of operating. It just may not be that you're feeling confident based on it, but you're still working on it. And that more than likely is the kind of reference point that you're all working on with that onion layer. Now, it's funny because your outcome card is that your spirit is going to move beyond and above. It is going to ascend. It is going to move through this. Yes, at times we can say, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And we did have this beautiful conversation with a member. And it was to do with people really making references of, hey, you know, you're super strong, what's your issue sort of thing. And I had that over the years through my awakening and my twin flame path and adversity and upheavals and, you know, really eating mud quite a bit. And I recall really feeling quite bitter when people were telling me that. It was like, well, you know, because when you are in the mix of that and you are hearing, it could be a reading, it might be a comment that a friend makes or a family member, a gesture, maybe an attitude your twin has, and you're just really sitting there going, well, why do I have to be strong? This can be something that you're asking your guides, Divine Feminine. Why did I pick this path? Why did I have to move through these circumstances? Am I sure? And I get the song Tears of Gold, and that can be a message for Divine Feminine. And I do get that reference almost through the context. There's two songs that really, come to mind. It was Tears of Gold, and I think there was a country singer that had a similar song. Anyway, your guides are saying that you're on the right path. They're moving you back into this ascended state. They're saying you're wiser than what you know. And yes, it can be that your guides are coming in to protect you and, guide you through this process, which is very, very exhausting at times, and having that faith and having that confidence. You are the shapeshifter. You are this energy that is being protected by guides on the other side. Okay, let's get 2 romance cards because, for a lot of you, you're like, you know what? I already know I'm having that. Regardless, where's the love at? Okay, if you're on the fence, they're saying, and we're going to come back to this. We're going to come back to this. What you think will come to life, what you manifest, spirals of manifestation. You're in this portal at the moment, right? Between the Trinity energy. Right, we've got the butterflies here. Now the card says, when it comes to matters of the heart, there is no right or wrong. Every choice you make expands your understanding of life and love. Now, a lot of times, if we feel there is a pause, internally we are pausing. We are hoping that there will be a white flag of peace. We're hoping there will be a green flag of movement. But it's really strange. One message that came through to me, which was something that I will be making reference to in the education content I start doing, was the secret. Now, there was a point in my journey where I was at a very different level in my life, and I wanted to reconnect with TF. I wanted to get into the vortex, and I knew nothing about twin flame journey. And I went on a journey overseas, and ironically enough, I was like, look, I'm going to be there alone. I was going for surgery. I was on a spiritual transformation trip. Theoretically, I'd gone through a breakup, and, then after I met my twin and all the rest of it. And the thing was, I wanted to get back into the vortex. And so that time to move through, I got a number of books, and one of them was The Secret. And I was listening to a podcast this morning about it. And it was funny because I had this revelation, and it was many years after. It was during the time of reading this book back to back, moving into the movement of embodying that vibration, because we do hear this from individuals, okay? Be it you've had a coaching session, a reading, a video you've landed on, information, resources to do with the path, and they say to you, you got to get into your vortex. You've got to be positive. Now, have I always been positive, Divine Feminine? No, absolutely not. But did I get to a point where I was doing what was really coming through in this reading, which was in the context of at a foundation level? You like doing things differently, digging the heels in, not allowing things to transition, moving into the courage to be you, and not controlling the situation, and believing, just fully believing that within my wisdom, in my higher consciousness, away from the ego, that I knew that there was a connection, that I knew what was for me was going to come for me. It was going to come towards me. It would be attracted to me. And so this has happened on various occasions, and it was very shortly after I got back from my trip. I had a gift for this individual, and I had absolutely no communication with them whatsoever. And sure enough, I had a phone call. Sure enough, I had movement. Now, years later, moving to a different level of my life, I would say also the attitude changed again. And so no work is wasted. You are always moving to this level where you have a deeper control of one's understanding of self. So you have that self mastery, and you can master the art of this divine connection, as well as the connection with yourself. But whenever I would move into that vortex, I could attract very quickly. And one of the biggest revelations I had was, while I thought I was fighting, all I needed to do was relax. While I felt something would be taken from me, the wound would ignite. While I felt universe had my back, things would attract to me. And I remember very quickly in union, having conversations and having dynamics and things going off kilter. And as soon as I moved back into my vortex, the balance within that situation came. And what used to take weeks would take minutes. So this does work. Be the courage. Move into your vortex. Know that you can have what is truly meant for you. And we're going to check in with this very now doing some updates online. You will see this via YouTube, other platforms, as well as the website. You can go to our website. All the information is directly below. New links will be coming soon. And we do have the Sage Inner Circle Network, which does host pre-release content, coaching, twin flame path. It's where the education content will be housed. So if you want to sign up to the next round offers, again, the information is directly below. Now, newsletters and sign-ups on the website, so you don't miss out. Please remember to subscribe. Otherwise, I will see you next week. Thank you for joining. I'd love to hear how this directly related to you and how this week is moving for you. Share with the collective of the twin flames. They need you.